trecut. Deci ne aflăm la o reeditare a prezenței dumnealui și sunt convins că
Thank you very much for having me here today. I will be presenting about cyber security use cases with sorry, just one small thing here because the is not the right. Okay, now I have what I need here. Thank you very much, and sorry for that. So I'll be presenting about how machine learning can help solving cyber security problems. So for sure you heard about machine learning and, generally speaking, artificial intelligence a lot. I start to be a sort of buzzword. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody is referring to AI, machine learning, but let's try to have an understanding, at least put some difference between at least these three definitions, these three different aspects inside what is the artificial intelligence generally means. So the artificial intelligence, historically, the first experiment started many years ago, and we can we refer to them as artificial intelligence, but there was not a lot of intelligence on it, in the sense that when we refer to intelligence, even for the human being, and one of the definitions of the intelligence for human being is the capacity to adapt. And so the first experiment of artificial intelligence were not so intelligent. And more specifically, they were called expert system. And you can imagine an expert system like a set of functions, a set of conditions, more complex, but basically still a bunch of if-then. If you see this, do that. If you see that, do another thing. But if there is an unknown condition, that's where the limit of these expert systems are. What's a step further in the artificial intelligence is what's called the machine learning. We will see a couple of differences where the machine can learn from a data set. You have a list of information. You have a data lake. You have whatever you can call it. You have information, metadata, and the machine is learning out from this data. Something that is even better, more complex, very powerful is what is called the deep learning. The deep learning is the next generation of the ultimate generation of artificial intelligence, where basically the machine is able to deduct conditions and handle exception without having the human to tell what to do in case something unexpected happens. I perfectly understand that this is just scratching the surface of this very deep and interesting topic. But the purpose of today is to give you the basics in order to understand the language that a cybersecurity guy is using when he is trying to explain you how indeed machine learning and artificial intelligence, generally speaking, can help solving a cybersecurity problem. So digging into the types of machine learning, we have mainly two types with an intersection in the middle represented by deep learning. And this is the supervised machine learning and the unsupervised machine learning. The main difference between the supervised and unsupervised, as the true definition may suggest, is that with supervised learning, there is a phase where the data that the machine ingests needs to be labeled before. So, and just to give you an example that we will articulate better later in the presentation, if I have a bunch of data representing cybersecurity behaviors, like, for example, logs, network capture traffic, and extracted metadata, and I'm sure that this is known command and control traffic, for example, I submit this information to my machine, and my machine finds a way to find even unknown threats because it knows the patterns from a data set standpoint. On the other side, we have the unsupervised, when we basically do something that is even more simple, in a sense that we submit this data without any kind of label. And this is typically what happens when there is a specific environment with every customer, for example, is different. Every customer has his deployment of Active Directory, his administrators that are administering servers. So all those information cannot be submitted to a machine prior to be deployed into a customer environment. So that's where unsupervised learning helps. So, and from an operational standpoint, what the unsupervised learning want to solve is the deviation from the norm, the anomaly detection. Of course, we cannot go with you cannot go with either one or the other. It really depends on the use case you want to solve. We will see in a minute also an example of deep learning. So in the case, just articulating a little bit on the supervised machine learning, this is basically has two main aspects. One is classification. So when I basically give to my machine already the input and the output of my function, and then the machine learns how to find and predict a new label with a new input that I've never seen before. Or in case of regression, that is another application of supervised machine learning, you can predict a quantity. Like, for example, an easy example could be having the price of the houses and the zone, the areas where these houses are. So, and if you plot this into a graph, you will find a line, probably a straight line or something close to a curve, and then based on that, you can predict the quantity on the price of the house, knowing the zone of the house. This is just a simple example. We will see how we could help. So the application of this concept can help in detecting malicious behavior inside the network. On the other hand, the unsupervised machine learning is about clustering, is about basically grouping, and this is what we do all the time. So we see someone very tall with blonde hair, blue eyes, is probably from Nordics. We see someone tall, someone small, all brown, probably is from Sicily. Just picking up Italy because I'm Italian. And so this is exactly what unsupervised machine learning do. Groups based on characteristics, predominant characteristics, and then the difference between everything that is in a group and the rest that is not belonging to a group is the anomaly. And that's one of the application of unsupervised machine learning to cybersecurity. Of course, this has some drawbacks, because having anomaly detection only approach, you end up having a lot of false positives. And especially now, when people are working from everywhere, connecting to corporate networks through VPN from every place, in every time zone, doing a lot of different things, changing job very frequently. And so having an approach mainly based on unsupervised learning will end up generating a lot of false positives. As I mentioned before, deep learning is the ultimate way of applying artificial intelligence, and is all about transfer learning. So I want to make you an example. So if I play tennis, and I'm good at playing tennis, if I need to pick up squash, most probably it won't be too different. I will already have some knowledge that I can transfer to another, in another domain, very, very close. That's what machine learning with deep learning does. So it's basically using prior experience, the outcome of something that has been learned before, to be reutilized in the next loop, in the next from the next algorithm, from the next function that will use as input, generally speaking, the output of the previous set. Just to give you something more easy to understand, and comparing what is the traditional machine learning versus the deep learning. So one thing that the traditional machine learning needs is the feature extraction. So labeling data, find out features in order to the machine to be able to do the right classification. And the example of a car, you can imagine the analyst has to extract the future of a car. Something having an engine, something having 4 wheels, not 3, not 5, something having windows, and something that, in order to run needs petrol or diesel. So in the deep learning, the feature extraction step is done by the machine. This is the this is the easiest way to describe this. We will see in the context of cybersecurity what this will mean. So, having said that, is not that using machine learning, whatever machine learning, fixes all problems. And here there is a very, deep discipline in order to understand first the problem, sit down with the people, the right people, having at the same desk a data analyst, in the case specialist on the domain, and in our case is cybersecurity guys, hacker, pen tester, security researcher, people that know how to break things, and on the other side having the data analyst asking and isolating the right type of data set needed in order for the machine to be able to deliver what is expected. Because it's not that you can put everything in it and then having as expectation to have something by magic happening at the end of the chain. There is something in the machine learning, artificial intelligence culture that is called no free lunch. This is a typical American thing. I repeat it as it is, but the explanation may be easier for you to understand than what the no free lunch means. Is basically that there is no single algorithm that fits all the situation. You need to use the right algorithm, the right tool in order to solve a specific problem. But let's jump into something that is more probably interesting, and let's do a comparison between the application of the traditional signature to the data science in order to detect and to find bad guys in our networks. So, signatures are like medicines, like vaccines, are built on something that is known, because I need to know the thread in order to build the medicine, right? So in order to have an antivirus, I need to have the virus. And if you can extend this concept, you need to see the thing before having the anti-thing. So this is very elementary, but this is key in order to understand the difference between the traditional signature and the machine learning and artificial intelligence approach. So, and then another important thing is that there is no context. If I use an antivirus, if I use a signature-based system, this is something that knows probably quite well a known thread, but it hasn't context on my local network. There is no information related to who is doing what on my network. So, and there is no way to distinguish between something that is anomalous but legitimate or anomalous because it is a real threat. On the other side, the data science, it's learning over time. It's learning over time. If something changes in the network, the machine learning algorithm will learn these changes. And one thing that I really like to highlight about data science and, generally speaking, artificial intelligence is the fact that, like us, that when we start to be over 40, I'm 43 now, so we start to forget, and we forget a lot of things. We need to write down everything. And all the devices we have, all the smartphones doesn't help remembering things. We don't do the gym we were used to do many years ago. So also machine learning forget. So if something is happening in the network is learned as normal because it's the normal behavior of an administrator of a server, for example, and then this guy is promoted, this guy goes away, find another job. This information, if not refreshed, it will be forgotten. And this is the beauty, because the data set is growing, but is not growing exponentially. You know, it is following what's the behavior in your network. It's not because someone just administered a server just once that this information will stay there and will be part of your baseline forever. So this is something I quickly introduced a few minutes back, but this is the real key of the application, of a useful application of machine learning to every domain. In this case is cybersecurity, but it could be whatever you want. So having a set of people, a group of people defining, identifying, and prioritizing what you want to find, the characteristic of what you want to find, and then validate that model. Because on the other side, the data scientists are not supposed to be cybersecurity experts. Working on this domain, they will become expert somehow, but they know how to deal with big set of data, with a lot of information, how to make algorithm works, and which could be the best algorithm to be used for a specific case, but who understand the problem and who can generate the problem and ask the other guys to solve it are the security researcher. And the net result of it is, in our specific use case, is finding attacker behavior model that are able to identify when an attacker is in the network without knowing anything about the tools, the techniques, and the procedures that this attacker is using. Let's see an example that probably is much more easy to understand and useful. So, external remote access. External remote access could be everything. Legitimate tools like TeamViewer, like LogMeIn, for example, that allow an external people, legitimate, authorized external people to connect to an inside machine to do a legitimate task. But at the same time, in the same way, from a network pattern standpoint, it's the same thing that Dark Comet, for example. That is a RAT, remote access tool, used by a lot of advanced thread in order to keep a hand and control a machine. So how data science helps with this process? We need a training set. We need logs. We need packet capture. We need information, data set, generally speaking, about many different tools. Here you have some example. You have, for example, TeamViewer. You have an Open. You have Dark Comet, and you name it. So the data scientist uses this data set coming from these tools in order to build the deep learning models that are supposed to detect that. And the outcome of it is having a deep learning model that identified a targeted behavior, even if it's unknown. And the example of it is that with the same, and this is something that has been, this use case is exactly how this model has been built. So the one listed below are the training set used, and the two above are two tools, one legitimate and one a little bit less legitimate, used as a remote access tool. And so the two on top were not part of the training set. This means that the deep learning and the algorithm is high quality. It's able to adapt, if you remember my words at the beginning, so that the capacity of the adapt and find something that is similar to something else, transferring competence between a specific use case to another that is very similar. This is the beauty and the power of the deep learning applied to cybersecurity. Another example is using stolen admin credential. So, as you know, I guess very well, so one of the intermediate steps into during an attack, an advanced attack, is the fact that the attacker lands on a machine where, in terms of privileges, probably there is not everything he needs, so he needs to escalate privileges. He needs to move laterally, probably, in order to do it. And he does work until, and he produces noise until a point where he gets what he wants. And how the attacker is generating this noise? Is moving laterally, for example, using credentials through the RPC protocol. Try to administer a host using stolen credential. This is a use case covered typically by anomaly detection. And then when it succeeds, it's authenticated. So there is LDAP activity, LDAP traffic. So on the other end, the data scientists are basically needs to learn how the normal users, services, application works, and then find a way to create the right algorithm, the most appropriate algorithm in order to detect this use case. The outcome of it is, for example, 3 use cases, like, for example, a suspicious Kerberos client. Kerberos client is any machine on a Windows domain that is authenticating against a domain controller using the Kerberos protocol. So, and if there is a misuse of it, if there is anomalous request, if there is different frequency in terms of, or attempt of brute force, this model will be able to detect it. Suspicious admin, again, based on learning, there is a baseline on who is administering which machine using which protocol. Just a very, if you want, a trivial example. So I'm administering this machine since months. It's my job to remotely connect to this machine using my account. I also have a laptop that I use when I'm at home that is a corporate laptop, and my baseline will have the 2 machines that are usually connecting to this server with probably RDP protocol. But suddenly, the receptionist machine starts to do a connection to the same server using an account that is not my account from a machine that is not my machine. In this case, this will be an indicator of something that is wrong. The machine learning piece will immediately detect that there is something anomalous, and then will be very, very easy for a senior cybersecurity guy, an analyst, to say, hey, looking at the context, this lady is not supposed to connect to this server. There must be something to investigate. And with the right context, it's very easy. Different is having a bunch of log lines that the analyst has to correlate alone and just by hand and, you know, changing pages. Yeah, so moving along on the presentation, so another important aspect is, and directly correlated to the point I just made about the time used by an analyst in order to correlate things in case there is no correlation done out of the machine. And here you have a representation of the kill chain. Is a little bit a weird one. We are used to see it on a straight line. Here we have a sort of parallel kill chain where we differentiate between targeted threats, what are usually called ATP, advanced persistent threat, versus what is more opportunistic, typically a ransomware. Guys just smashing in, and they want to do as fast as they can, and then they want to break something, they want to create damage in order to ask you a ransom, for example. Different is an advanced threat, a nation-state group that wants to, the time is not a problem. They have plenty of time, and they basically look for intellectual property, financial information. That's what they are looking for. And they are persistent means exactly that they stay in the network for months, years. So using how it's possible to quickly and efficiently differentiate and prioritize things. So one approach, a good approach, is use what are called the Bayesian network in order to find commonalities and correlate things based on commonality. The result of it will be, for the analyst, having already correlated events for the same host where there is suspicious activity that already points in one direction or another direction. And that's why it's very important to have a threat-based approach where there is a threat score and a certainty score that can help you understand as an analyst, yes, this is something super high priority because it's smelling of something very, very bad, and you have the proof of it, you have the evidence of it, versus something that is, for sure is something that needs to be looked at, but is not so urgent. Just deviating a little bit from the pure cybersecurity domain, those are considerations that are a little bit more generic, that could be applied to every domain. So, build versus buy. So, I'm meeting a lot of customers, and especially big ones has this impression that having very big data lakes, they can do whatever they want. And in theory, they could, but there are some consideration and something to be considered. So, for example, where they get their data from, how they are sure about the integrity of this data. Are exactly the data they need, and remember what I said about the security researcher identifying behaviors and use cases, and the data analyst analyzing the data in order to find out what the other guys were able to achieve. So, and all those considerations are very important. So, and then are you able to afford, in case you decide to build something in-house, so is your data science team good enough? What about if your chief data analyst leaves and goes to the competition? So there is no one answer to that, but it's a sort of, I let you think about it, and it's very important to have an approach that is, I would say, holistic, considering all the aspects of that. So coming back a little bit to the topic, I'd like to explain you very briefly what it takes to build an algorithm. So typically, there are 5 steps. There are 5 steps that are macro steps during the building. You see a lot of intermediate steps, and the color helps you identify who is doing this. You see the security researcher doing the first block, and then there are the security researchers plus the data scientists doing the second block. And then there is a phase of test where there is this loop, and the algorithms used are tuned. And then we move over on the more cosmetic things like the UI. I said cosmetic, but it's not a trivial thing, because I can have the best algorithm in the world, but if the data are presented to the analyst in a poor way, the analyst will struggle using these outcomes. So the user interface needs to be very curated, really easy to understand, and needs to facilitate the job instead of creating an obstacle. So the main 5 steps are obtaining a description of the problem. So I need a problem statement. I cannot say I take whatever algorithm to solve everything on the planet. That's of course a joke, but it's just to give you the idea. Need to analyze the problem. Need to develop a high-level algorithm. So you cannot know everything about your data set before has been learned the first time. So you build a high-level algorithm. This high-level algorithm will analyze your data set, and then you will be able to refine it and say, hey, probably I need some more data, probably I need to change some parameters in my algorithm, because this data is not taken into account in the right way. And then, as I said, refine the algorithm and continuously review that. That's what makes an algorithm, a machine learning algorithm, a good algorithm. So I'm just going toward the end of the presentation, and I'd like to give you some takeaways. And then before finishing, I would show you a static demo about the product that Vectra does, so you can see with your eyes what's the net result of all this hard work that we are doing. So if you face a vendor that is selling you something based on artificial intelligence, and this doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be in the cybersecurity space. This could be for everything. So what type of machine learning are these guys using? Is it supervised, unsupervised, deep learning? How many machine learning algorithms they use? And with that, I mean, how many use cases have they isolated? In the cybersecurity domain, Are they detecting command and control? Are they detecting how many command and control are they detecting? Are they detecting exfiltration? Are they detecting exfiltration just, you know, a big chunk of data in very small amount of time, or what is called the slow bleed, meaning just a beaconing out of data, few bytes per hour, that at the end of a month will be a gigabyte of data? For example, how long another question you could ask is how long their machine learning algorithms needs to be deployed in the network in order to be able to learn and deliver value. This is a very good and precise indicator if they are using supervised or unsupervised, because if they are using unsupervised machine learning, as I said before, they will need the time to learn from your network. And the drawback of it is that you probably end up having a lot of false positive. And then, of course, about the workload reduction that this gives to the analyst. And this is more tied to the what I described before as a cosmetic aspect, so the user interface. So that's fundamental, because it's the way, is the door to assess the data, the outcome, the output of all the machine learning algorithms. So if this interface is horribly usable, if it's maybe shining, very good looking, but is not usable, this will be a big problem for the analyst. So, yeah, I let you these 5 takeaways for reference, because I'm aware of time and I want to jump. I have only 10 minutes, and I want to jump on the demo. So that will be probably, you know, a nice conclusion of my presentation. So just a second, I managed to close this. Yes. Okay. I'm a cybersecurity guy. I'm a cybersecurity professional. Independently from the company I'm working for. And so Vectra is the company I'm working for. Everything I say comes from passion. And so I don't like to say too much, we do this, we do that. I will have the approach of an analyst that I've been in the past. I was leading a SOC. I started as a security analyst, and I've ended up being a SOC manager. So I want to walk you through these detection steps as I presenting my SOC, right? Of course, the tool I use is Vectra, but it's this is the approach I like to have. So this is the interface. This is the interface that is giving you immediately the idea of and the concept that is behind what I was describing, trying to describe before in terms of threat, certainty score, and criticality-based approach. So you see this quadrant here. So think about the magic quadrant, the Gartner magic quadrant. That's exactly the opposite. So you never want to be top right, okay? So top right is are the critical hosts where there is something really, really bad. So as an analyst, I can immediately jump on the critical host, and I can have here you can see better. So every dot is a host, or if you see the plus sign, no, in this case you don't see a, you on the low quadrant you have a plus sign. This plus sign means that there are multiple machines on the same place, and on the X axis you have the certainty. So how sure is that this is a thread, being 0 false positive and 100 a true positive. And on the y-axis you have the thread. So how severe is this thread? So when the score is above 50 and 50 for a thread uncertainty, you will end up having a dot, a red dot on the top right quadrant. And let's see, so we have a machine here that has a very high thread uncertainty score. If we jump on it, we have a quick overview of what and why this is a so high and so critical thread. So, and the reason is that we have multiple detections, multiple use cases that are covered. We see that there is a command and control, there is a reconnaissance, two types of reconnaissance, port sweep and internal darknet scan. And then we have suspicious admin. That's another use case. And then exfiltration. If you put these 5 blocks horizontally, you have a kill chain. And that's what we are focused on, being able to detect the attacker alongside the kill chain. But let's jump onto this box, Leroy Brown, and see the kill chain that I was describing before. So this graph is important because it gives the idea over the time, like a timeline, of the trend of the thread uncertainty score. So you can see over time when there has been something that changed suddenly, like for example here. And this time on the timeline is exactly when the malware update started. You see, you have a machine that is part of a botnet, is doing basically nothing very scary until a point that this botnet maybe is sold to another group of bad guys. I don't know if you are aware, but among the bad guys, there is a sort of supply chain. They buy from each other. So if there is a threat actor that is interested in to jump into some company, and this company is already owned by a bot, there will be, money involved, and basically the bad guys can buy will buy the bot from the bot owner. This is something that has been seen in the past in several situations. And then there is a malware update. After the malware update, there is an external remote access that is initiated. And then when the attacker has the foothold on the machine, can control the machine, he starts to move laterally. And that's where you see the port sweep, internal darknet scan. That is a declination of port sweep. And then a suspicious admin, so the attacker that is trying to connect with an administrative credential to another machine. And then the final goal of the attacker, that is exfiltration. Just showing you quickly what.
Unfortunately, we have to
Yep.
fix your idea since 1 to 2 minutes.
Yeah. So I'm basically done. It has been a pleasure having the opportunity to present our technology and giving my 2 cents about artificial intelligence and machine learning and the application of it. So I'll be around for the day, so please stop by and feel free to ask. Thank you very much.
We have to thank Technical representative, and I will invite the CERSAIN representative, Mr. Daniel Grigore. If it's possible, I ask you.
Yes, thank you. Just to, with respect to our foreign guests, I will try to talk in English. Hopefully, I'll do my best if something goes wrong. I will share my slot with our partners from Hitachi. They will make a short presentation, about 15 minutes, about their technology. But I'm here today to present you something more material. And you know, when I say material, I think that I don't imagine that is anybody in this room that doesn't use a smartphone, because everybody uses a smartphone to access the internet, to access the data to its company, to access the data, organization data to talk eventually. And what I wanted to present you is our concept of securing the mobile environment. I'm trying to... prezentările sunt aici pe stick? Nu e prezentarea noastră aici? Să tragă? Pe atrás să tragă colegii mei. I will ask my colleagues from Hitachi, our partners, to have their presentation. I will come back with the presentation. Eventually, not here. Mă așteptam să fie aici. Nu contează. Arkadiusz, yes, you have the floor.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. First of all, it is a pleasure to present in front of you, and I would like to thank CERSAIN for giving us the possibility to present to you our solution. If we talk about security and also cybersecurity, we cannot forget about human being, about the authentication of the person that is accessing the data, accessing the many systems. And that is what we want to present to you today. We will present the biometric technology, which is authentication technology, that brings a very high level of the security in the area of authentication of the person. Hitachi is invented this technology and providing this to the market for many years. So I will explain it a little bit more on next slides. However, we are doing this for almost 20 years. Yeah? So it is proven technology, the technology that gives from let's say biometric technologies available on the market the highest security level, and also it is a technology which is very fast, reliable, and compliant with data protection, which is very important. Couple of important aspects about the technology itself. The technology is how the technology works in general. We are measuring the veins inside the human finger. So very often we are our technology is mixed with the fingerprint. Fingerprint is a technology that is deployed in many applications around the world. However, is completely different level of security. What we are doing in our technology, we are measuring the finger veins inside human finger by taking the picture from the veins, which are we are using the infrared light to visualize the veins in the human finger. Then we are doing some image processing. There are a couple of additional security features like live detection, and basing on this mechanism, we are composing the biometric template, which is stored in a different environments. It can be a server, it can be smart card. I will explain a little bit more later on. As I mentioned, security is the most important aspect of this technology. We are positioning this as a most reliable technology and most secure among all the biometrics. The false acceptance rate, which is a very important factor for all the authentication mechanism, is like 1 to million, which is a very high standard. Acceptability, because very often we discuss with our customers, we are getting the questions whether what about the adoption of the technology among the customers, among the society, whether it is problematic or not. The average acceptance is higher than 85%. That is based on many surveys that was done by our customers and by Hitachi as well. What is also important? Privacy. I mentioned that the technology, finger vein technology, is measuring human characteristic, which is inside the body, which is very important, and it's very important also for general protection offices, general personal data protection offices, because you cannot get biometric template without having the person know about it. Yeah? That is very important. For example, comparing this to the fingerprint is very important, because fingerprint you can get even from the glass, yeah? And you can do some kind of operations to authenticate on a specific device. With our technology, it's not possible. That is why we got very positive feedback from general data protection organizations about the technology. Also references, I will mention on the timeline how the technology was developed, how the technology was adopted in the market. Yeah, over 20 years. I mentioned that the technology is mature, is still considered as an innovation on the market, as biometric. I'm pretty sure that you are familiar with the biometric concept of biometric solutions and how it is used, because it is a very hot topic, especially that also regulators are giving the possibility right now to use the biometrics for the strong authentication, like the PSD2 directive, like ADAS, which is also giving the possibility to use biometrics. It is mature technology, but still innovative. We developed it, we started on development on this and implementation in 1997 on the Japanese market for the specific application on the ATMs, because that time there was a big problem in Japan with the frauds on ATMs. So the government asked Hitachi and one more company to try to find out a solution that will fit and solve the problem. Currently in the Japan, according to statistics, there is around I think more than 80,000 ATMs with this technology functioning. So it is a quite big coverage. The model of using it in Japanese sector is like using this technology in combination with the card. So the matching mechanism is done on the card, banking card. Also, it's worth to mention about European references, because such reference country also from this area is Poland. I personally work for Hitachi Europe based in UK, but I'm based in Poland and was part of the implementations. We did it for ATMs in Poland, we did it for branch banking, we did it for also security of accessing the IT environment, like desktops, like servers, just to secure the data. Also, there are a lot of implementations in the UK. Recently, we started like 2 years ago. We are still in the process of implementation because there are some steps of implementation and assumptions from our customer, which is Barclays. It is a huge, very huge and reference project in banking sector for corporate banking. There is like 90,000 devices working, giving the strong authentications for the corporate customers of the bank. So it is a very reference project for us. Also a lot of implementations in the area, as I said, of securing the IT environment. Also it's worth to mention about Staller, which is biometric payments. Right now in UK the project is pending, and people can authenticate, can approve the transaction by putting the finger on the device. So this system is also right now growing and expanding across the Great Britain, and we are starting to promote this technology also and this concept also outside UK. What is worth to mention, we are moving right now to mobile as well. Yeah, it is the concept of the technologies is the same. The usage is different. We are not using additional hardware. Yeah, so what is important, because for the mass implementation for the let's say end user, like a person living in a country, we cannot base on the hardware, additional hardware. So we will release this technology later on this year, but it will be based on the mobile devices of the user. What about security and user experience? We are thinking, as Hitachi, that we need to somehow bring together these two important aspects, because very often if we increase the security, we somehow lose the user experience, which is very important, because if you will have let's say very low level of user experience, you will not have adoption of the technology in the environment you are planning to implement it. So we are trying to work on the security and still keep the high level of security, but also try to streamline the process on the customer side. So our intention is to develop the technology that will not decrease the user experience, because the technology will be nice, will be secure, but will not be used. Yeah? That is very important from the perspective, from the concept of developing and still expanding the technology. Primary use cases, secure login to portal and applications. That is the primary use case. Login to desktops, as I mentioned as well. Secure authentication of transactions, operations, payments. That is something that this technology can be used. Secure paperless operations. It is something that is right now going on in the market. Probably you observed that a lot of organizations who are dealing with on a B2C market are trying to implement paperless processes, pure digital workflow of the documents. We see that biometric can be used as a trigger as a first, let's say, first technology in touch with the customer, to be a trigger to start the workflow of electronic documents purely digital. Yeah. For some operations you can do this with the lower security technologies, but in very sensitive areas, like for example, the example is banking, you need to have a very reliable and secure authentication. And in these areas we observe a big interest on the market, and we are focusing on using the paperless operations, using the finger vein to address the paperless operations. Regarding the devices, what is worth to mention that from one of the reasons, especially for corporate banking, we developed the devices, as you see, that are combination of the biometrics and PKI infrastructure. That is, in general, the solution works like you have the device, you have the standard PKI card. The format is maybe different, but also we can use the standard card with the embedded our applet, and this card is also storing the certificate with a private key, just to sign the transaction or to sign the document like in the paperless operations. It is important for the customer if you don't want or cannot build the database of the biometric data. Yeah? For example, corporate banking is a very nice example because in this area, not every time the bank the bank is in direct contract relation with the user, because user can be employee of the customer of the bank. So in such case, bank's intention is not to store the biometric data in their database of the people who are not in contract relation, because they cannot get the proper consent from the user. So a part of that, it is even enhance the security, because we have PKI. PKI is controlling the signing process. The card also has a mechanism inside embedded for matching the template. So all the operations are done on the card. And from the user perspective, it is important that I always possess my biometric data, because I can remove the card and take it. Yeah? So that is, for some specific areas, it may be very important to implement biometrics in general in such scenario. I mentioned about this mobile authentication and this mobile solution that is coming. As you see, it is a bit different approach. We are planning to measure 4 fingers at one time, and it will come later on this week, this year in the Q4. So it will be probably our biggest intention is to use this for banking, because banking is let's say, first adopter of many technologies. This is the area in which you need to have the strong authentication for operations, but not only banking. Everywhere, when you have the contact with the end customer, you need the strong authentication, this solution can fit. Yeah. And it is, what is important is independent on the hardware platform, because if you, for example, if we compare it with the Apple Pay, because you can say what's new, Apple Pay has the biometric authentication on the device. Yeah, it's possible, but it's not possible to have the independence on the technology across many vendors of the hardware. We can implement this technology and use it on every device. There are some, of course, requirements, but on every device, and we don't need to care about whether it is Samsung, whether it is Apple, or any other provider of the mobile devices. So that is the very strong benefit of such approach. Okay, so pretty much everything. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm also here. I'm staying here, so I'm happy to talk with you. After the presentation, after the session, you can approach me and we can discuss. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So actually, it was a good idea not to have the presentation and to let Arkadiusz to show you the mobile security concept, because it is related through our partnership with our idea of ensure the security on the mobile environment. So, who is CertSign? We think that we are the biggest information security team in Romania, with a Romanian company, private owned, and we set up 12 years ago as a company, but we have more than 20 years in PKI, in public key infrastructure and cryptography, and also in CMS, card management systems. We act as a qualified trust service provider according to European legislation, and because of that we are audited each year according to the standards established by ADAS regulation, and also with a web trust for CA audit. And thanks to these audits, our certificates, our root certificates are trusted by the major operating systems and also by internet browsers. As a software development company, we develop products related to cryptography related to PKI that are already included in the NATO catalog, NATO Information Insurance Product Catalog. And of course, we have national and NATO security clearances. Starting with 2015, we established as a private jet a business unit that in CERTSIGN, and we managed to get in those organizations that handles this type of activities, as Daniel mentioned. Daniel Ionita mentioned in his presentation, and I mean here, the Trusted Introducer List. So actually, we are one of the members of this, and I think there are not so many private certs in that area. So, the world has changed. Everything has changed. Everything has changed, starting with the way that we interact with the internet, the way we interact with the information systems. Actually, in these days, we are using the mobile phone actually as a gateway to the electronic world, to everything, to data, to information, to email, to corporate application. So actually, we are now in the right part of the slide, where it's all about mobility. The former architecture of systems, actually, it was based on fences. It was based in borders. Now we don't have borders. Everybody can access his data. The data are distributed. The applications are distributed. Most of them are in cloud in these days. And actually, all of the things are done by in mobility. So, what information should we protect? Actually, email and internet resources. Every organization has applications that are running on the internet. You have documents there in in shares, in enterprise content management systems and stuff like that. We have to have remote access to the network to do our job. We also use the phone to have voice calls, messages, and to access data on that device. And it's we have a let's say a joke in our company. If you lose your smart card, maybe you will see that you don't have your smart card maybe in 2 or 3 days because you don't have access to some things. But if you lose your phone, you will know that in the next 5 minutes. So actually, when you lose your phone, you have to do something with that phone that has specific access to different stuff. And a lot of security policies that are and compliance policies that are on the device. So, CERTSIGN approach for mobile operations. We deliver to our customer infrastructure and also tools for the end users to use their smartphones in order to access all those, securely access all those data that we talked about. And we are talking here about the EMM. It's actually the basic. The EMM is the Enterprise Mobility Management Solution that allows you to have the management of the devices, to know where they are, what they are accessing, what security policies you have to implement to them, to manage access to data and application inside the company, with content management, and of course in this GDPR hot topic, we are talking about data loss prevention mechanisms that can be implemented directly on the phone. And you have the centralized management. That's a holistic view of all the entire fleet of the phones. Inside the EMM, you have actually a virtualization solution that allows you to securely access each application, each resource in a secure manner through VPN, dedicated VPN connections. Inside this virtualization solution, it's our internal developed solution that is called Trust for Mobile. It's a certain product that it's used to encrypt mobile communications. In mobile communication, we think about voice calls, of course, SMS, text messages, and also to have a file transfer from one user to another. What makes this, this solution, let's say, more, what makes it different from other solutions of that type is that it's entirely based on asymmetric encryption. It's based on PKI, it's based on digital certificates for authentication and for signing and for encryption of files. It does not have symmetric encryption as the major vendor our competitor, let's say, are selling, and also it can be entirely deployed on premise, on client premises. Also, another product, it's FIDES, that actually allows the user to electronic sign the documents, as the entire business is moving, as also Arcadio said, is moving on mobile and PKI and the digital signatures. This product allows the user to electronically sign, to digitally sign documents. And different solution is actually a document management solution with a mobile interface that is Docs Lite, that implements workflows for documents inside an organization. Actually, this is the schema of the overall schema of the system, and with all those components that are installed in the phone. And on top of that, we can deliver cybersecurity services in order to prepare, prevent, detect, and of course respond to cyber incidents related to the infrastructure. This enterprise mobility management solution that we are implementing to our customers actually allows central configuration and administration. I won't pass all the slide because this presentation will be available to attendees. But this solution allows also monitoring of the activity of the phones, where they are, what's their firmware, what's their latest operation system installed. You can have metrics in terms of how long they are used, how long their battery is consumed, when they are used in roaming. One security feature that can be implemented is that you can draw actually let's say a circle, and when a phone on a map, when the phone actually exits the circle, the phone exits the secured way and enters the public way, way of functioning. You can have a lot of security functionalities installed, like passwords, complexity, lifetime. You can set restrictions of usage of microphone, of camera, of USB devices attached. And of course you can have data shredding, actually delete all the information that are there if an application doesn't have, if a mobile phone doesn't respect the compliancy policy. You can also have there blacklisted apps or whitelisted apps. You are not allowed to install a specific app, let's say, because the people are tending to install a lot of applications on their phones. The secure email can be accessed through electronic signature, of course. That allows, the PKI technology also allows, along with the electronic signature, also allows encryption of emails with the high assurance of the fact that only the intended personnel can access those mails, and also can allow implementation of advanced data loss prevention policies. As I told you, it's a hot topic this day. Trust for Mobile. It's actually the application, it's the application itself that is installed on the, it's installed on the mobile phones. It works also on Android and iOS. But it has a central system that can be installed in our premises if you want to consume this product as a service. But it also can be installed on the customer premises to have its own management, its own keys, its own HSMs, its own system, its own administration. So the encryption it's very secure because it's based on high key algorithms. Actually, it cannot be broke. Of course, everything can be broke, but it cannot be broke in a reasonable time. Here are the special projects for governmental clients, actually where we installed this this product. And what's not here is actually quite recent feature that it's the global address list of the users. So actually, if you want to search for someone to call him, if it is not in your already in your agenda, in your application agenda, in your contact agenda, it can be searched on the global address list of the system. It can work on mobile data, of course, above 3G. It needs at least 3G, but of course it works on every access to the internet you may have. So actually on Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi is the most common use case, and also on 3G and 4G. Of course, you may you depend on the quality of the mobile connection, the mobile data operator, but it does not need a high bandwidth, and also does not consume a lot of energy in terms of battery. The cryptographic algorithms actually are RSA for asymmetric encryption, and for key exchanges and for encryption itself, it's used AES-2 in CRT mode. DocSlide, document management, doc workflow on mobile devices. It allows the management of electronic documents, also the management of electronic flows, and actually on mobile phone it's a mobile app that is dealing with these activities you may have in your work. Also allows electronic signatures, I told you, and the electronic archiving of documents. And the FIDES application is our latest release. It actually offers the possibility to sign documents from distance using the mobile device without token, without smart cards, without actually it accesses services that are installed in ChairSign premises as trust services provider according to eIDAS regulation. And on top of that, there are the cybersecurity services that we are delivering to our customers, with all the steps that we talked about, actually to prepare to have the assessment, whatever vulnerability assessment, pen test, and also auditing, to have risk analysis and implement different security mechanisms to raise the security level of the organization, of the customer. To detect, we have CM implementation, IDS, IPS that can help actually the organization to collect all the events that happened in the network, and also to see those that are relevant. And the incident response step that actually it's made of incident handling, the vulnerability handling, and forensic malware analysis. It's a well specific. It's a very high skilled activity. The difference chain. And thank you.
We have time to
Thank you very much.
next I invite Mr. Sergiu Popa to wake up our interns for conference in this part of the day after the lunchtime. And I will give the floor to Mr. Sergiu. Thank you.
Bună ziua! Mă numesc Sergiu Popa, am venit din partea grupului TID. Am un doctorat în matematică, în ecuații diferențiale de la MIT. În partea de computer hacking și de red teaming, aproape 10 ani de experiență cu o subsidiară a NSA-ului, din partea de SOG, Special Operation Groups. Nu prea am mult timp pentru prezentarea de azi, pentru faptul că mi se pare că erau două, dar a trebuit să le integrăm într-una. De obicei interacționez și cu audiența, însă azi nu cred că ne va da foarte mult timp, așa că voi încerca să parcurg subiectele cât se poate de repede. Din moment ce avem nevoie și de conexie de internet pentru ce se va face live, încercăm să ne conectăm separat, să nu strice routing-ul. Din moment ce toată lumea e expertă în securitate, bineînțeles, nu va fi nicio problemă. I also meant to tell everybody else whose first language is not Romanian that if they want, they may interact, they may pose question at any given time. Pretty much everything is going to be self-explanatory, so, but if you don't follow along, just interrupt me for any given second, and I shall answer your questions immediately. Un IP config sau nu? Un IP config? Să vedem dacă a luat IP. Da, la sigur? Ok, perfect, mulțumesc. Acum câteva săptămâni, când domnul general Dinkovici mi-a spus despre conferința aceasta, mă gândeam ce subiect să prezint care să fie cât de cât relevant în contextul în care ne aflăm. Și atunci mi-am adus aminte că prin anul 2004 sau 2005 am condus o cercetare prin care am exploatat protocolul AIS, Automated Identification System, protocol care a fost introdus în anul 2002. Astăzi vreau să discut puțin cu audiența și despre arhitectura și implementarea protocolului, însă timpul nu cred că ne va permite. Vom parcurge anumite aspecte ale lui, cele mai practice, pentru ce se folosește tracking system pentru vesele, deci pentru absolut toate bărcile să știm exact unde sunt poziționate în high seas, ship-to-ship communications, self-explanatory din nou, to and from port VTS, aplicațiile ei sunt obvious, sunt evidente, collision avoidance, probabil cel mai popular, maritime security, asta relaționat în contextul de azi, search and rescue, mesajele care sunt de asemenea binare, cum ar fi weather forecasting, și dacă vreți să vă documentați mai mult, aveți linkul de Wikipedia, unde este explicată și arhitectura fiecărui mesaj și ce conține. Schimbarea de informație se poate produce prin două modalități. Unu, radio frequency, la frecvențele mai mult sau mai puțin 162 plus minus 0,25 MHz, care poate fi atacată și am atacat-o cu succes cu SDR kit, Software Defined Radios, cum ar fi Hack-RF sau Blade RF, Full Duplex. Acestea sunt mecanisme integrate tip ASIC, Application Specific Integrated Circuit, cu FPGAs, Field Programmable Gate Arrays, care simulează base station tower. Se folosesc de asemenea în interceptarea telefonelor mobile pentru a crea ceva ce se numește base station tower sau IMSI catchers. De asemenea avem online providers, online AIS providers, care funcționează în felul următor. Vă voi arăta arhitectura și după aia ne vom întoarce la prezentare. Ok. Probleme tehnice. Ce se poate întâmpla la o conferință informatică? Slideshow. Yeah. Nu vine să cred că până acum nu a apărut. Bun, slide-urile astea le-am parcurs. Din nou, cum spuneam, există și online AIS providers care funcționează după următorul model. După acest model. Nu știu cât de clar este. A ship vessel care este on high seas conduce informația către un AIS gateway. AIS gateway poate face un broadcast către internet. Există de asemenea servicii publice pe internet care oferă acces la asemenea date. Voi oferi un exemplu foarte rapid de unul din ele care eu l-am exploatat personal acum vreo 6 ani de zile. În ziua de azi este fixed, au reparat vulnerabilitatea. Stai să văd dacă pot găsi Google Chrome-ul pe aici. Unul dintre site-urile foarte populare pentru integrarea cu gateway-urile SIS este marinetraffic.com. De aici, bineînțeles, ne putem duce către toate porturile din lume unde, prin sistemul AIS, toate bărcile își Mi se pare că nu mai cea de prezentare. Stați puțin să vedem dacă... În fine, ca să nu pierdem timpul, să nu ne complicăm, există site-ul marinetraffic.com, care, după cum am spus, era vulnerabil. În ziua de azi nu mai este vulnerabil. Însă, către a prezenta acest subiect astăzi, am explorat puțin Google-ul pentru toți API-urile care sunt expuse către providerii de AIS și am găsit unul care la moment va trebui ținut secret pentru 90 de zile până când își peciuiesc vulnerabilitatea. Și o să vă arăt exact ce s-a întâmplat. Acestea sunt unele dintre cele mai populare din AIS providers. Din nou, cel care am ales să le exploatez trebuie ținut secret până când își repară vulnerabilitatea. Practic, ce se întâmplă? Acolo am exploatat o injecție de tip SQL, un SQL injection, o vulnerabilitate cunoscută încă din anul 1998, dar care încă funcționează. Având în vedere că toată lumea este expertă în câmpul de cyber, cine îmi poate spune câte injecții de SQL există? Câte? No, nu many more. Sunt 3. Error-based, blind-based și union-based. În cazul ăsta a fost una dintre cele mai grele de exploatat datorită faptului că algoritmul respectiv are o complexitate de O de n pătrat, se poate reduce la O de n log de n. Acum vă voi arăta. Care e problema cu acești online providers? Problema nu este numai arhitectura, dar este full duplex communication. Odată ce se exploatează o vulnerabilitate, cum ar fi SQL injection, în cazul acesta, atunci caching-ul este corupt în așa fel încât încep să facă un data broadcast în trunk line și în felul ăla comunicația devine deja sabotată. Aceasta este arhitectura sau cel puțin o poză cât de cât care redă mai mult sau mai puțin realitatea. Acum haideți să ne jucăm puțin. Aici am căutat prin site-ul legitim, prin marinetraffic.com, una dintre navele care erau disponibile. Deci ăsta nu este site-ul care este vulnerabil, ăsta este un site legitim care astăzi nu mai este vulnerabil, dar a fost vulnerabil. Ne vom focaliza pe MMSI și vom încerca prin alt online provider să vedem dacă putem schimba datele vaporului existent, ceea ce am făcut deja. Bineînțeles, am contactat providerul ca să nu se sperie nimeni, pentru că putem trimite nava pe un curs de coliziune. După cum ați văzut, am șters anumite informații, cum ar fi host request-ul, pentru a menține confidențial tot. Acesta este sistemul vulnerabil unde i-am pasat ca parametru tip get MMSI codul. Responsul a fost 200 OK. Îmi delivers back o aplicație stil JSON, unde jos, nu știu dacă pot pointui aici, dacă se vede, nu știu dacă se vede clar, se vede clar? Da, se văd datele destul de clare. Astea sunt caracteristicile navei. Acum am făcut altceva. Tipicul hacker ce face întotdeauna când există un punct de intrare, va introduce un apostrof. De ce? Pentru a sparge SQL query. În cazul ăsta, din obișnuință, am pus un SQL injection și în user agent. Răspunsul care l-am primit a fost un 500 internal server error, deci știm că acolo e o problemă. Fie remote code execution, fie putem pasa parametrii sau tipul de injecție. Știu deja din experiența mea că în astfel de cazuri nu diluim cu error-based. Error-based ce înseamnă? Când sunt bazate pe eroare, aplicația ne va răspunde cu un stil de eroare care practic ne oferă informații adiționale despre numele bazei de date, câte tabele există și așa mai departe. În cazul ăsta este mai greu de ghicit matematic, dar până la urmă n-a fost o problemă. Din nou, asta înseamnă 500 internal, că avem un SQL injection sau un remote code execution flaw, sau poate serverul nu ne place. Atunci, payload-ul care l-am folosit în user agent este un payload puțin mai greu. După cum bine vedeți, ce face payload-ul respectiv, îi spune să selecteze din absolut toate tabelele, după aia să selecteze de 2 ori și să doarmă 20 de secunde. Pentru a fi siguri că am fost cu exit în operațiunea noastră, vom vedea jos, în dreapta, timpul în care a răspuns aplicația. 20.005 milisecunde, ceea ce asta înseamnă exact 20 de secunde. Asta înseamnă că aplicația execută codul nostru din user agent. Mai departe am selecționat următoarele payload-uri. Practic, pentru a-mi da seama și a exfiltra informația când am acest tip de injecție de time-based, voi întreba așa. Practic, vreau să știu un număr. Câte baze de date conține acest server? Conține serverul mai puțin de 10? Dacă da, dormi 2 secunde. Dormi 1+1, deci evaluează și codul acolo. În cazul acesta, nu mai țin minte, nu cred că a conținut 2, cred că am conținut 3. După aia trebuia să știu în care de bază de date mă aflu. Baza de date conține un nume. În primul rând trebuie să determin câte caractere există în numele bazei de date. Și atunci, cum ar fi un payload de tipul 2, 1 and if length de evaluează tot, select schema name from information schema, limitează-mi 2, asta înseamnă limitează-te la a doua bază de date. În punctul ăsta știam deja că diluezi pe site-ul respectiv, pe serverul respectiv cu a doua bază de date. Dacă este egal cu 11, în cazul ăsta a fost numele bazei de date, care nu-l voi dezvălui, atunci a dormit 2 secunde. Bineînțeles, toate astea nu se fac manual, se fac prin scripturi de Python, unde putem modifica algoritmii. Acum mă puteți bine întreba, ok, cum ghicești numele bazelor de date? Ca să ghicesc numele bazelor de date, voi face un statement, un payload similar și voi spune, este mai mic ca Z mare? Dacă da, dorm 2 secunde. Bineînțeles, nu voi începe cu Z mare. Asta o altă întrebare pentru audiență. Cu ce literă încep pentru a obține un logaritm, o complexitate logaritmică? Cu ce literă încep din alfabetul latin? Cu cea de la jumate. Că dacă n-a fost mai mică ca M, atunci probăm între M și Z. Deci e obvious. După foarte multe automatizări, până la urmă am obținut hash-ul adminului. Hash-ul adminului era un M de 5, care a fost crecuit online. Din acel punct avem interfața site-ului. Unde în interfața site-ului, bineînțeles, am schimbat numele bărcii. Status hijack. Acum este o demonstrație live în care vă voi arăta cum se poate face hijacking la sistemele care sunt enumerate aici pe ecran. Însă pentru asta voi avea nevoie de internet și nu știu exact dacă vom fi capabili să proiectăm Chrome-ul. Cred că am nevoie puțin de ajutor să văd dacă putem proiecta Chrome-ul. Vom analiza totul dintr-o manieră pasivă pentru nu a comite nicio ilegalitate, deci de când ne vom uita la anumite lucruri, dar nu vom schimba nimic. Vreau să proiectez Chrome-ul. Nu știu că e instalat, dar nu proiectează. Probleme cu mouse-ul acum. E în celălalt screen mouse-ul? Acum a venit, ok. Eu nu prea folosesc Windows, folosesc Linux de mulți ani și nu cred că sunt proficient cu ele. Să vedem acum. Deci avem Chrome, dar cum îl accesez eu? Ia să vedem. Nu, mi-apare în celălalt screen. Știu, dar nu pot să scriu nimic, nu pot interacționa cu el. Numai că nu văd nimic pe ecran, asta e singura problemă. Mai mă puteți ajuta o dată să vedem dacă...
Ar trebui să scriem în bara de adrese, nu? Sau unde?
Da, deocamdată.
Trebuie să găsim. Ok. Aici? Separat, deschid un tab nou sau ne ajunge? Un tab nou. Ok. Ce să... Ok.
Trebuie să mă focusez acolo să vedem. Cum spuneam înainte, acum voi oferi un exemplu de SQL injection error-based, ca să vedeți exact despre ceea ce vorbesc. Cât de repede credeți că putem găsi un SQL injection cu un Google Dork? Alegem aleatoriu. Ce introduc aici? apostrof. Ce s-a întâmplat? Avem eroare în SQL Code, deci practic acolo putem să insertăm toate codurile ca să putem sparge baza de date exact cum am făcut eu în partea cealaltă. Numai că în cazul ăsta suntem fortuiți datorită faptului că reflectă output. În cazul precedent avem ceva blind-based, unde aveam inferential time. E foarte important de înțeles. De exemplu, aici, dacă aș vrea să mă joc puțin cu numele tabelelor, e foarte incomod că pe ecran nu văd exact ce scriu. Ok, aici pot să scriu ceva de genul null union select ce îmi spune? N-ai două coloane. Deci, practic, pot interoga baza de date până aflu câte coloane sunt în tabel. Și, eventual, mă pot juca și scoate toate bazele de date dacă vreau. Bineînțeles, pot folosi Google Docs mult mai importante, cum ar fi Nuclear Silos și așa mai departe. Acum ne vom apropia de... Să vedem unde sunt. Iar am pierdut mouse-ul. Ia să vedem. Dreapta maxim. E ca banda lui Mobius în topologie. Nu. Shodan este un motor de căutare pentru hackeri, un motor special de căutare. Aici am uitat termenele care trebuie să le folosesc, voi vedea dacă mă pot întoarce la prezentarea mea, pe ultimul slide. 2 secunde, vă rog. Voi da un exemplu cu Sailor 800 VSAT KU. Cred că am pierdut iar mouse-ul. Unde? Poziționat în Shodan. Nu, în cutia de căutare.
Copiem adresa în de căutare.
Ok, îl luăm pe primul după providerul din Norvegia. Din nou, aici nu facem absolut nimic ilegal pentru că nu vom schimba niciun setting. Este plasată pe un râu temporar. Îmi place deja serviciul acesta pe portul 8083 pentru că expune deja o grămadă de librării de JavaScript care pot fi vulnerabile. Și acum așteptăm puțin. Pentru cei de la marină bănuiesc că știți foarte bine ce înseamnă ecranul acesta. Putem calibra cursul, antenele, sau inclusiv le putem face un firmware update unde îi trimitem pe curs de coliziune. Deci e ceva destul de grav, nu? Noi am alertat aceste căutări foarte mulți ani, însă există problema, după cum vedeți, e încă existentă. Deci asta e o demonstrație live, nu e niciun pre-recorded screen, nu e nimic. Probabil spuneți, da, serviciul este expus, dar n-ai credențialele de acces. Ba le-am. Administration, vă rog.
E o muncă de echipă, după cum vedeți.
Da. Asta am mai făcut niciodată.
E în câmpul de sus, e la port.
Nu, administration. Ia să vedem dacă vine. Gata, da.
Da, bine.
Puțin. Ok. Care credeți că este username-ul? Ok. Și care credeți că e parola? Nu se poate, nu? Cred că l-au schimbat aseară. Dar mai era unul, stați așa. Oricum, pentru simplul fapt, se poate sparge foarte ușor, nu voi sparge. Am un cod în C care librăriile de JavaScript pot invalida niște cookie injection și de acolo se poate bypassa mecanismul. Ne întoarcem înapoi la primul shot. Da, 2, 1, 3. La primul de la stânga? Nu. Sus. Mai sus. La dashboard. La 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 4.
La adresă.
Nu, mai sus. Acum back. Nu, tot la ăla și acum back, semnul de back. Înapoi.
Imediat.
Okay. Să-l selectăm pe al doilea. Se gândește.
Da, încărcare.
Mai bine pe detalii, pe details. Încărca mai greu. Să vedem dacă aici au lăsat adminul prin default. Dar din nou, din panelul de admin, de ce este foarte interesant, în afară de faptul că se poate sparge, se poate infecta tot firmware-ul. Cei din marină știu foarte bine care sunt consecințele. Mi se pare că vesela se numește FT Portoria, dacă nu mă înșel. Putem schimba poziția antenei, satelitului. Tocmai l-am probat aseară înainte de demonstrație, tocmai l-am făcut și un shot. A intrat. Polarizarea antenei, azimutul de elevare și așa mai departe. Ce anume? E un tank chimic, nu? Deci nicio problemă, nici măcar e un croazier sau ceva. Decât otrăvitor, deci nu, nicio problemă. Ok. În topologie există un concept, se numește fibrația Hopf. Când treci de la 4 dimensiuni la 3, se pare că și cu mouse-ul ăsta cam așa. De aici, evident, putem schimba credențialele, dar nu vreau să mă uit la asta, vreau să mă uit la altceva. E clar ce se poate face, nu? Bun. Dar nu vom face, cred că nu aveți IP-ul protejat de aici, nu? Sau? Bun, acum mă voi întoarce la prezentarea mea, să văd ce alte termene vreau să vă mai prezint. Cum stăm cu timpul? Mai avem timp sau? Cam 10 minute? Ok. Cu avioanele, vreți să vedeți și avioane? Bordul de avionics? Ok. Poate pe secțiunea asta o redactăm. Să vedem aici. Haideți să încercăm și sistemul VSAT foarte repede. Mi se pare, dacă nu greșesc, că asta era marina militară din Peru. Voilà. Marina de Guerra del Peru. Și aici cunosc parola. Dar nu neapărat că ar fi ceva de genul 1, 2, 3, 4 sau default. Aici este un buffer overflow. A buffer overflow este o vulnerabilitate unde EIP-ul, Extended Instruction Pointer-ul, este corupt prin lungimea parolei. Putem accesa foarte repede, acesta fiind Windows, va fi o problemă. Ce port este 23? Toată lumea trebuie să-l știe. Bun. Și mai avem câteva pentru avioane, pentru placa de avionics. Acolo bănuiesc că riscul e mult mai grav, nu? În 2 secunde e o adevărată provocare să lucrez așa. Știi că nici și click dreapta este, nu știu, poate avea vreun JavaScript. Era dreapta, nu? Nu vrea. Acolo, ok. Bineînțeles, toate stringurile astea, toți Shodan dorks care îi prezintă azi, pot fi intuitiv ghiciți. Însă, dacă se face reverse engineering la aplicații, atunci apar probleme mult mai grave. Acum vreun an de zile am raportat o vulnerabilitate la Air Europa, când zburam cu ei, aveau internet la bord și se putea ajunge la avionics. Wi-Fi-ul nu era VLAN segmentat. SATCOM-ul, de aici se ajunge la providerii toți providerii pentru avioane, deci absolut tot ce au la bord, POS system și așa mai departe. Mai aveam anumite lucruri de prezentat, însă nu cred că mai am timp, așa că voi rezerva 2 minute pentru întrebări.
Tărică. E inevitabil să vă întrebăm ce organizație reprezentați.
Am venit aici on behalf of TID, cu domnul general Dinkovici. Asta era substratul întrebării sau mă întrebați altceva? Câteodată. M-am uitat la câteva servere, dar serverele în Java ale universității erau deja de bine puse la punct. Făceam un cadou pe la oricare universitate unde dădeam câte un speech să le arăt dacă se poate ține un bind shell sau un reverse shell, dar în cazul ăsta n-am mai avut timp.
Despre marine traffic. Putem, deci, făcând o injecție SQL sau un alt fel de atac, putem să ajungem din zona marine traffic, care este o zonă publică, mondială, într-o zonă de mission critical, de exemplu?
Dar nu putem elabora pe subiectul ăsta, dar se poate. Da.
viziune și, mă rog, se riscă niște stresuri, dar se poate ajunge într-o zonă mission critică.
Asta au fost exemple oferite pentru prezentarea aceasta, însă da, bineînțeles, exemplele pot fi critice. Nu am avut timp, dar ar fi foarte interesant de dat o demonstrație live cu Blade RF-ul. Blade RF-ul este un software defined radio. De fapt și de drept ce vroiam să-mi aduc un Blade RF și să întreb pe toată lumea din audiență, uitați-vă pe GPS-ul telefonelor, spuneți unde sunteți și vă putem poziționa în Cuba sau ceva de genul, clonând Access Base Point Tower-ul, BTS-ul, dar da, să răspundem la întrebare și în Mission Critical Areas. Plăcere. Altcineva? Protocolul în sine, protocolul EAS, dacă te uiți la arhitectura lui, este corect, e la fel ca protocolul BGP, Border Gateway Protocol, care la fundația lui este prost. Dacă ai corupt BGP-ul și ai făcut un router să numere mai mult de 16 hub-uri, deja ai numărat către infinitate, practic, așa se numește. Nu știu ce soluție, la fel avem o problemă cu telefoanele mobile prin protocolul SS7 pentru a intercepta telecomunicările. Nu știu cum s-ar putea aborda. În primul rând ar trebui construite soluții de securitate unde un convergence solution, să spun așa, pe un punct comun. De exemplu, dacă un IP care nu are un certificat cel puțin PFX12, nu poți accesa. Dar, din nou, există metode foarte ingenioase ca cineva, când atacă un network, să poată bate toate soluțiile de securitate. De exemplu, în prezentarea Vectra, unde se vorbea despre machine learning, s-a contemplat absolut tot, minus un singur lucru. Eu, de exemplu, ca atunci când atac un network, niciodată nu o să fac o operațiune pe hard disk pentru a nu afecta entropia. Voi opera în memorie, deci voi lua un LSAS process dump, analiza cu Mimikatz, bum, am toate credențialele. Sunt foarte puțini vendors și solution providers în lume care detectează chestia asta. Tocmai de aia chiar vreau să adresez o întrebare, pentru că n-a fost menționat. Și în cazul acela la fel, deci ești bazat pe certificate, dar și certificatele se pot fake-ui și așa mai departe. Una dintre specialitățile mele este reverse engineering. Și atunci când, mai ales când iei unele dintre aparatele și VSAT Sailor 6600, am descoperit deja, mi se pare, 4 buffer overflows pe arhitectură MIPS. Arhitectura MIPS este foarte interesantă pentru că nu poți implementa NX, non-stack executable. Nu poți avea stack canaries. Metodele noi de la sistemele de operare 2003 și încoace implementează ceva ce se numește ASLR, Address Space Layout Randomization, și non-executable bytes, că atunci când un cod în assembly controlează EIP-ul, îmi schimbă memoria dinamic. Bineînțeles că cunoaștem metode cum ar fi ROP chaining, Return Oriented Programming Chaining, să păcălim programul tot să execute codul nostru prin ROP gadgets, dar la arhitectura MIPS nu există nicio metodă de protecție. Acum vreo săptămână tocmai am hackuit un sistem care era un ADBS pentru avioane. Cum? Printr-un hack RF s-a făcut debugging la firmware, s-a văzut că exista buffer overflow, asta e una dintre alte arii ale mele de expertiză, exploits de memorie, și atunci codificând semnalul prin radio, antena respectivă îți dădea un remote command execution. Altcineva cu alte întrebări? Poftiți? La ce mașină vă referiți? Bine. Am menționat pentru faptul că mi s-a părut foarte interesant și chiar e o oportunitate bună că mi-ați adresat această întrebare. Cum diluiți cu exploiturile de memorie?
Sunt partea comercială, dar de cea mai mare plăcere punem o mașină la dispoziție.
Putem
o mașină aici în demo, la universitate, și putem să facem dacă te tot chiar live, când o deci astăzi, mâine, cu cea mai mare plăcere.
Nu voi mai fi la Constanța, însă cu cea mai mare plăcere. Chiar mi-ar place să o iau ca un challenge intelectual, să văd. Perfect. Altcineva?
Mulțumim domnului Boban. deci în sală pentru următoarea sesiune.